Hey, welcome to another edition of Six Pack Cinema. This week we are talking Tomb Raider, but before that, an update on the Sheehan family. Sheehan's wife gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. Everyone's home and doing great, so hopefully we'll have them back in about a month or so.
Yeah, pretty exciting for them. I mean,
Yeah.
Sheehan's life just changed. He's going to be a completely new man when he gets back. That'll be fun. Good
Oh, for
dad,
sure.
Sheehan. His likes are going to change. He's going to want to do cartoons and animated movies now.
Well, he and I both have talked about doing that anyways, but we knew you would hate it, so we've been trying to steer away from it.
Bubblegum and Yuppie Adventures, or whatever the hell that show is called.
Yeah, Bubble Guppies, I think it is.
Yeah.
My niece watches that, so he and I can do a whole episode on season 2 of Bubble Guppies.
Yep. My sister had a little baby boy, so I'm in the same boat as Sheehan. I got a new baby in the family. I get to go see him and like hang out and then leave for all the other stuff. Sheehan has to do that, but
yeah,
same exact boat.
Oh, pretty much. As in, like, I'm an uncle too, and it's great. You just get to show up, load them up with candy, let them break all their parents' rules, and then say, "All right, bye."
Exactly. Take them. Eventually, you take them to movies like Tomb Raider because they're family fun.
Yes. All right. Well, let's hop into Tomb Raider then. What is your snap impression of it?
So my snap impression has changed because it's been a day or 2 days since I saw it. And when I walked out of the theater, I liked it more than I like it now. I was like, that was a little too much, but it was a fun movie. Now, the more I think about it, the worse it becomes in my brain because there was just not much going on besides action scenes.
Yeah.
Like, I thought, and we can get into it further, but so just snap impression, not impressed with it. I went in open and like, okay, this is like, I'm not expecting anything great. I just want to have a good time. And then it wasn't that good to me.
Okay. My snap impression is that this would have been an amazing 2003 movie.
I can go with that.
Like, if this had come out in 2003, I would love this movie. Even today, I'd love it for like the nostalgia factor. But coming out in 2018, I was kind of just like, all right, that was fun. Like, I'll never see it again. But it wasn't a horrible way to kill time. But sorry, what?
Felt super empty.
Yes, that's a very good description of it.
Like, there was so many gratuitous action scenes, like the fox hunt bike race scene, the kid stealing her purse. I get it. They want to tell us like she's fast and agile, but they needed to like actually have some plot. Like those kids needed to tie back into the movie, or that bike chase or riding a bike needed to tie back into the movie somehow. It was literally just, oh, we're gonna have a bike race, and then they filmed it like it was a chase scene, to drum up like this false sense of and I was like, but this is just a stupid bike race.
So I think those scenes were good because you kind of had to show that she was super athletic and could do all this before she gets stranded on the island, because then you're just like, well, this is bullshit. Nobody could do that.
I get it.
But I think they just had to pick one of the two. Either have the bike chase or have the like chasing the kids who tried to steal from her. You don't need both. At this point, I was like, I don't care.
I'll agree with that because they came too soon to like anything happen. It's like, okay, why are we doing this? It's just another chase scene. Like it was just to show off the chase scenes. Felt really gratuitous. And let's talk about that bike chase scene game. Just fucking spilling paint all over the city. What a bunch of assholes.
I'd be furious if I was like just walking down like the street and you see a biker go by and then you take a step and you're just stepping into paint and your shoes are ruined.
I get it. It's a cool concept, but that's just really rude to the entire city.
Yeah, absolutely.
And she cheated. She got up on the truck. I was like, that's blatant cheating.
Well, there was no like rules laid out, but I felt the same. I was like, really? Like you shouldn't be allowed to do that.
She might as well just grab the paint can and hold it while she rides the bike.
Just chuck the paint can like into a river.
Yeah, it's blatant cheating. Like they tried to make it move plot by saying because she got in trouble, now her stepmom had to come. They dropped some terrible dialogue in that scene. It was like, you've never seen me. Like, okay.
Oh, I audibly groaned at that line.
Me
That was
too.
probably the worst line of the whole movie. I was like, oh God, what did I like get us into?
I agree. So those things felt very forced to me. Like they didn't move the plot. They were just she's really fast. And the second, I agree with what you said. If there was just one, I wouldn't be that upset about it. But two of them was so stupid.
Yeah. I think you show the boxing in the beginning or the MMA in the beginning to show she can fight, and then you show her chasing down the kids trying to steal from her, and then you don't need that bicycle scene to show like for when she gets on the island, people still believe she can do everything she did.
Yeah, and then the whole plane montage where she's down the river onto the plane, hanging off the wind, and then that falls, and then that falls, and then that falls, and then the parachute. The parachute was cool. I was like, okay, that's badass. But
I will say I loved when like the plane started to fall and she's like, "You gotta be kidding me!"
yeah, I think I was saying that as like an audience member. Like, you got to be kidding me! Come on,
Well,
this is
yeah,
like that. What's the movie Hot Rod when they have that montage where he just continuously falls down the hill? I think it was in a commercial as well. And like he
oh
tries
yeah,
to stand up but just keeps falling and it's a
hmm
whole montage and it's like, man, this hill never ends. That's what that plane scene was. They just kept adding more and more and more. And that plane didn't come back into play. I thought maybe that was going to be her dad's plane. I thought it was going to be a huge clue. It was just like
no. Well, have
nothing
you
really.
seen when? Because this is based on the first video game of the rebooted series. There's a thing where Conan's playing it with some guest. I think Marshawn Lynch, and they do that river scene in the Conan episode, and she just gets impaled by a if you fuck up, she just gets impaled by a branch and killed in the most gnarly way possible. And I was like, please let there be a fuck up at the end during the credits where they just showed Elisa Vikander get murdered brutally.
Yeah, I remember watching that video of the video game. I didn't know. I didn't put it together. And I should say to anyone listening, I never seen the original Tomb Raider or any of the video games, so I was coming in blind. We did come home and put on the Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider just so I could watch it, but we turned it off after like 20 minutes because it is not aged well, incredibly dated.
Yes,
Even
absolutely.
my girlfriend was like, she was a much bigger fan of the original. She was a little disappointed by this one, said the original she liked better. Then we put the original on and she was like, oh, this is, I don't want to watch this.
Like maybe I was looking through that with like rose-colored glasses.
Yep. Nostalgia. It's a son of a bitch.
Yeah.
What do you got
Um,
next?
let's talk about the cast that's in this because I think this is a pretty heavy hitter cast for a video game movie.
Well, I've never heard of her before.
She was in Ex Machina,
Yeah,
which
I
she
heard.
won an Oscar for.
Okay.
And
I've
then
heard of that. I've never seen it, but I know that.
we should when we do like a throwback movie or something, we should do that. And even not that it's really a throwback. It came out in like 2015 or 16.
Yeah.
But that was like her and Oscar Isaac and Domhnall Gleeson's first big roles.
Okay, so she's been in The Man from U.N.C.L.E., The Danish Girl,
Yeah.
Burnt, Jason Bourne, Lights Between Us, Ocean. So she's been in a lot of big movies. So I probably should have known her. But yeah, I'd never seen her before.
Yeah, she's a very talented actress, I feel like. And disappointingly, I felt like she was the only one in this movie who gave a damn. She, like, the movie and the dialogue wasn't great, but she was putting everything on the screen. Like, she was giving it her all, I felt like.
Yes, her acting she was the only one acting. Dominic West, I like Dominic West. He's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, he did not give a shit.
And what's his name? Walter Goggins?
Walter Goggins is great, and he was just like, in this.
Yeah, it felt like he showed up for a payday and didn't actually care about it.
Because Walter Goggins is so good at bringing, like, in Justified. Did you ever watch Justified?
I've only seen one episode, but I've heard the rest of it's very good.
So his character was supposed to get killed off in Justified after like the first episode, I think, and it lasted all 6 seasons or so, whatever it was. Boyd Crowder, because he just has like this way of bringing bad guy to life. Hateful Eight was a pretty big breakout role for him. He's really good at like making his character like what's that word, enigmatic or whatever. Like, I don't know, really good. Yeah. And it was just very generic one-tone bad guy here.
Yeah, and I feel like he is so good at tapping into like that unhinged type of
Hmm.
character that
Hmm.
this could have been a villain of the year role if he gave a damn and the
No,
writing was a little better.
we can get into like if we go into characters and writing from here
Mhm.
because those are the only real three actors, right? Is the Lou guy famous?
I don't know who that is, but I thought he was fine. He was the second best, I felt, which
Acting
doesn't say much.
wise, but character and writing. I know it's just an action movie, but you still need to have some heart and some depth. There was no depth to this movie. Like it was just that's my
No.
biggest complaint. It felt empty. Like it felt like just action for action's sake, which is fine. You can be more action than like good story, but you still need some of the other. And it also felt like the characters were really poorly fleshed out. Like I wanted to know much more about like how Walter Goggins' character was doing this kind of like he was a merchant, like he was a
Yeah.
worker. It wasn't he wasn't the head. He was in being work. He
No.
was working for
He,
someone.
he said a few times that like he was pretty much forced to be there until they got this and he wanted to go home to his daughters and I would have loved to see that explored way more.
Yeah, explored way more. And then the dad, when she found him, the scene, the way they tried to play that off with him being like, "It's a vision, don't look, don't look." I thought that
Mhm.
was really poorly done. Actually, like I would have liked their recognition scene to have a lot more heart than it did, and almost like they took all the heart out of it, and it should have had
Yeah.
so much.
For sure.
Uh,
And then when he dies at the end of the movie, he dies because like he just fucked up and stuck his hand out and like touched the guy. It wasn't like he actually had to sacrifice himself to like accomplish some goal.
yeah,
He had a gun and put his hand first and held the guy back.
yeah, and then the Lou guy whose dad died doing the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
that needed to be explored way more.
Yeah, because when he goes back for Lara, he's like, "I got to go back," and all the rest of the prisoners stand up and be like, "We're going back with you. Your father stood up for us." And I was like, "What?
Yeah,
When was that mentioned?"
tell us more about that. And the whole idea that you can be a shipwrecked fisherman and then you become a slave on this island. Tell me more about some of the people that happened to, at least briefly,
Yeah,
because all they said was that line, like, who are these people? Well, some of them were shipwrecked, and some of them
like
came
slave
here for
trade or
work,
whatever.
or
Yeah,
slave trade, or whatever. But I want to know about a dude who got shipwrecked and then forced into being a slave on an island. Talk about bad luck.
for sure. And it wasn't even like the movie was long, so they cut that. It was an hour and a half. Like, this is a
Yeah,
pretty short movie. They could have
yeah,
easily added 15, 20 minutes to really flesh out all the characters.
yep. And the whole time I wanted to know, like, well, why do the bad people want this tomb? Like, what's their end goal? They just going to sell it for money? They don't believe in the curse because Walter Goggins' character like didn't believe in the curse. And then I was like, oh, okay, he doesn't believe that it's has his powers. Oh yeah, he's just being paid. It's like I wish that in the end that they were sequel baiting. You know, like, well, you don't know that
Mhm.
yet because it's going to be the sequel, which I think is terrible when sequels depend on a big conspiracy. That's always like bad. I
Yeah,
think. I
I
just felt like
think
I
we
wanted a
were.
lot more.
Yeah, absolutely. And I assume if this gets a sequel, they'll explore Trinity more. And I kind of hope it does get a sequel because I cared enough to want to know more. I don't know. Did they just want to release this virus and kill people, or did they want to sell it to the highest dealer? I just have
Yeah,
no idea what their goals were besides getting this virus.
yeah, I agree. Did you see? So I guess there's two like twists of sorts coming. The first one would be that her dad was still alive. So as soon as that first conversation happened in the boardroom, I turned to
Hmm.
my girlfriend. I was like, "Oh, her dad's still alive," and she was like, "No, he's not," because the first one she thought it was going to be the exact same. She was like, "He's not," but
I
maybe
I was gonna say I didn't think he was alive. I haven't played the new games, so I have no idea if he's alive in those. But just her origin or whatever from previous games and previous movies is just that she was orphaned as a young girl and grew up like chasing, like exploring the world and chasing that part of her self. So I just assumed, oh yeah, her dad died and she's gonna go finish his mission. So
yeah,
that did throw me off.
the way they had that dialogue I forget the actual wording of it, but I like, oh, he's alive. And then it was cool, like that's cool, he's alive, but they never really played up the reconnect. And he was like, I all I wanted to do was watch you grow up, and now I have. Like, no, you haven't. You guys have barely talked about anything of worth.
They had like one 20-minute conversation, and then she was like, well, if you're not going to do it, I'll fucking do it.
And they fought. It was like, yeah, I don't know. Just everything.
What was the second twist, you think?
That the stepmom is the bad person.
I didn't see that either.
I had a hint because when he was in the cave, he said something. I thought he mentioned it, but I think I was just thinking, but I didn't fully see it coming. And I was kind of like, oh, it was just a sequel, baiting for a sequel.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we'll see how the sequel goes before I diss it, but.
Yeah. I mean, if a sequel came out, I would definitely see it.
Yeah. So the other thing, like the action was done well, filmed well. I read a review that said it was nice. It was like they weren't positive on the movie, but they said it was nice that Alicia Vikander, is that how you say her name?
Yeah.
That she wasn't filmed out of lust, but filmed to show like her fierceness. Like it wasn't just all tits and ass shots like Angelina Jolie's was, I guess. It was more like, look how badass this chick is.
No, I agree with that. And she really got into like crazy good shape for this.
Yeah.
And I know she did a lot of the stunts herself, but also I love that she got her ass fucking kicked a lot. Like she kept getting hurt. She kept like falling down and shit. And a lot of the times in these action movies, they're just invincible force running through bad guys. And that I never felt for 1 second that she was 100% safe.
It was nice that she had to get like stitched up by her dad and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And she was hurt. I mean, she would have been a lot more hurt from all the injuries, but whatever.
Yeah.
What'd you think? Okay, so once they go into the tomb, what'd you think about all that stuff? Because this is where I want to go. The tricks and like the mystery puzzle solving of this movie was lame as fuck.
Yes, I think they could have really stepped up the puzzle solving, but I was worried because like sometimes in the video games it does get pretty mystical. And I like that they took it in a direction where no, she had a disease and was like taking herself away from the world. I was worried it would get like mystical and like the dead army would raise up and stuff.
Yeah.
I was very glad that never happened.
100% agree. I like I like the disease twist or whatever. That was actually cool. That was the cool part. But to compare it to the best movie, puzzle solving, National Treasure.
Oh, which that movie's 10 out of 10.
Yes. So I went home and watched because my girlfriend never seen National Treasure. Like, you gotta watch this one. This one's like really good. Like every chase scene, everything moves the plot forward to like make them do, you know, like they get in the one chase scene, but that gets the blonde girl stuck with Nicolas Cage and to their dad's house. Like everything changed the next scene, whereas the bike race scene and the purse chase scene in this movie kind of just didn't go anywhere. But also the puzzle solving National Treasure is awesome. In this one, she was just twisting things.
Yeah, there was like some throwaway line in the beginning where she used to do those boxes with her dad all the time, and he had hundreds and hundreds of them. But we either needed more of those being necessary and like showing her figure it out with other people,
or tell me how
change the fucking. Yeah, I have no idea how those things work. She
all
just
we
twisted
know
it
is she got
one time, and
yeah, she got a salt shaker. She twisted it, it worked, and then now they have this tomb, and she twists those, and it works. Like that's not exciting for me. Tell me what she just did.
Yeah,
and then
absolutely
everything else. Like once they got in the tomb, was a little. Like, where'd they get that ladder from?
I assume they just like sent a guy back out to get it.
I guess so. And then where'd they get all those fluorescent lights from? Like, where are they getting this shit
Once
from?
Again, yeah, I just assume they kept sending one guy back out. They like made it farther, and they're like, "Shit, we need something else. Go back, Greg, and get everything."
Yeah, and the only other thing was the lights. Like when the floor was dropping and she needed the color switching lights. That was all right. That was the best of all the puzzle solving.
Yeah, definitely.
But I did really like that the twist was she saved herself. But then they this is an action adventure movie, so they have to play to a dumb audience. Like
Mhm.
they threw all the flashbacks while she was figuring it out. Like they showed us all the flashbacks of like have to save yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's
Mhm.
like she could have just like they could have just showed us her thinking, and then she figures out, and we would have pieced it together.
Yeah.
But
Or even after that, Goggins or her dad or someone was like, "Oh, what was it?" And she explains it.
yeah,
The
flashbacks
thoughts,
are
like as she figured it out, I was like, come on, be a better filmmaker."
yeah, it's really easy. Like it's really lazy. Like this is what she's thinking about. It's like okay,
Mhm.
flashbacks are pretty bad. So I don't know. There was the action was good. They were like as far as you want to judge action scenes, they were like exciting, fun. The parachute was cool. The river, the plane, but nothing like meant anything. It was all empty.
Yeah.
All the action scenes were empty, and then like once you got in the tomb, none of them came to be. Like they needed to tie in the plane, the purse stealing, the bike race, the boxing. They needed to tie all that in more. So like that helped her when she was in the tomb finish the problem.
Yeah. Another thing that bothered me was when she had Goggins at arrow point, and he was like pointing the gun at her dad, and she's like, "No, I'm not going to do it." And Walter Goggins lowers his gun before she lowers the arrow. She could have shot him in the throat just then and ended it.
The other thing was when they were both on the ladder over all the skulls.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, she's on the side closer to getting out.
Yeah, she could have walked
And
backwards and then kicked the ladder.
yeah, yeah. And then she could have just walked ahead of him and kicked the ladder. Or then right afterwards, she kicks him back, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, now run and pull the ladder. And she
Yeah.
doesn't. She runs
Oh,
backwards to him. I'm
it
like, what?
froze.
Oh,
So it froze for a second. But yeah, she
okay.
she kicked him and
She
then followed him.
she kicked him backwards and then followed him backwards instead of just kicking him backwards, running. And I know that's not exciting, but come on, I need some like smarts. This girl's supposed to be smart. I think they did a much better job showing that she's like physical and fierce and stuff. And I think like, isn't she supposed to be super smart? They alluded to her being super smart.
Yeah,
Nothing she
she's
did,
supposed to be very intelligent and like a good puzzle solver too.
yeah, nothing she did prove that to the audience for me.
Although I did like when she kicked him back and then went to go fight him, it very quickly backfired and he just started beating the shit out of her.
Yeah.
I was like, well, that's what you get for not crossing or like going across when you had the chance.
Yeah. So I don't know. This was a mixed bag. I think it's more bad than good, but it's not trying to be like a critically acclaimed movie. But I
Yeah.
think you need some more. Just it was empty. You just need a
Mhm.
little more like heartstrings, fleshed out characters, stuff like that.
For sure. How do you think this stacks up to like early 2000s, late 90s adventure movies though? Like The Mummy and The Mummy Returns and I guess National Treasure, which nothing beats that, but
Yeah. What was The Rock's first movie?
oh, he did Walk Tall with Sean William Scott.
No, there's he did one where he's in like the Middle East. It's his first ever movie. Walking Tall and the other movie by The Rock are really good.
Oh yeah, the
For
one where
early
he's with Sean
2000s.
William Scott is
Running something.
yeah. That one is fantastic, I felt like. I
Yeah,
remember
no, but
rewatching
there's
it
one,
over and over again in like middle school and high school.
The Scorpion King.
Oh, yes.
I bet if we went back and watched The Scorpion King, you'd be like, that was garbage. But I remember liking it then.
Yeah. For sure. I'd say this is like a little behind The Mummy, which The Mummy was amazing for its time. And still is. That holds up. I rewatched that last year. That's a fun adventure film.
I'd like to see if it holds up because I think they're really hard. The Rock has a lot. The Rundown is the one we're talking about. Then Walking Tall,
Mhm.
Scorpion King, and then he did Gridiron Gang. But I think you're right that it's like a decade old.
Yeah.
Like this movie feels like it should have come out in 2008, even
Yes.
2003, even.
Yeah. Although it is the second highest reviewed video game movie ever. You want to know the first highest?
What's that?
Angry Birds.
Angry Birds, they made a movie out of that?
Like a kids movie. Apparently, it's supposed to be a lot better than everyone thought it was going to be.
There's no way.
I mean,
what is this movie? What is Tomb Raider? Is it getting good reviews or bad reviews?
It's very middle of the road. I think last time I looked, it was at like 41% on Rotten Tomatoes. And they were all kind of like, it's fine. It's just there's no heart to it.
Yeah, it could have been more. It didn't have to be more, but there's been action adventure movies that give you like heartfelt moments, and this didn't give us any.
I can't think of a single one in this.
Yeah. Even when she said goodbye to her dad and they did the little finger thing at each other, it was like, shut up.
But then, like, they did the finger thing, and she still continued to stare at him until he put his hand down, and he, like, sighed. And I was like, well, this is weird. You should have turned around and left when he did the finger thing. Instead, she sees him go, oh, God, that sucked.
Yeah.
I don't know. There was more on the editing floor they could have done to save this movie.
Yeah. So you want to do our final scores?
Yeah, let's hop into our scores. Critics rating, what are you giving it?
51.
All right, what did I write down? I gave it a 64.
Okay.
This was
it's not gonna be up for any awards at all. So
no. Is there an award for stunts? Maybe stunts?
Maybe. That average out to a 57. Which is about what we're at like all the review sites, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. That's about right.
And then
Pop, I gave it 3.
Wow.
Like I said, I had an okay time in the theater, but I was never going to be like, oh, let's watch it again. Because I saw it on Good Friday because I had off from work. And my girlfriend didn't, though. And she kind of wanted to see it. And she's like, oh, will you see it again with me? And I was just like, no, I'm not going back to see this.
Yeah, I have a 3.5, and I thought I was being too lowball, so I did 3.5, not 3. But if you break down everything, this movie is supposed to be a popcorn movie. Like they don't care what critically they get; they just want the popcorn ratings. And we both went 3 out of 5, which isn't good.
Yeah.
So this movie failed at what it's trying to be, basically.
Yeah, like Happy Death Day. I think we rated that in the 20s or the teens. That was like a 5 out of 5 for popcorn. It was a fun movie to be at.
I enjoyed watching Happy Death Day much more than I enjoyed this one.
Yeah, me too. All right, what are you drinking with it if you watch it again?
Just so much water, man. She's sweating all the time. They're all sweating nonstop. They're in a hot-ass island doing slave labor, and then they're in a dusty tomb. Just give me a lot of water.
Fair. I wrote Jack Daniels. I don't know why, but deserty movies just make me feel like I need like a medium tier whiskey. So I went Jack Daniels.
That works.
But this wraps up our review of Tomb Raider. Let's hop into our weekly recommendations. What have you been watching?
Man, so many shows are out. I'll just do Barry on.
Fuck, that was going to be mine. All right, I have another one though.
No,
that'll tie into the end of the episode. You can do Barry.
I'll do AP Bio. Did we already do AP Bio?
No, but I also started watching that. It's a
I'll
great
do AP
show.
Bio. Dennis from Always Sunny, Glenn Howerton's new show. It's about a psychotic, pompous, arrogant, pretentious teacher from Harvard that has to go teach AP Bio at a high school, and he's just with a bunch of nerds. And anytime you put kids and adults, and the humor is like adults shitting on kids, I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, and I love that one nerdy girl in the class, Heather, who's just like, she's all in on this professor not giving a shit, and she's like, yeah do it.
With the Coke bottle glasses?
Yes.
Yeah, she's my favorite. I get some really big laughs from that show.
Oh, yeah. I legitimately like laugh out loud. Very rarely when I'm by myself do I audibly laugh.
It's good.
And I still do to this show, like once or twice an episode.
Yeah, it's really good. What do you do?
I was going to go Barry. It's the new HBO show. It's Bill Hader's show. He wrote most of it, I believe. He's directing the first 3 episodes. He's starring in it. He plays a low-level hitman who decides he wants to become an actor. And I've only seen the first episode. The second episode just aired. But I thought it was a really good dark comedy. and it was shot really well for a first-time director, especially the action scenes at the end of the first episode. That was different than anything I've seen Bill Hader do, and I thought he sold it well. And as the director, he had to obviously line shit up, and it sold it as an action scene for me.
When things come to a head at the end, and then he just walks to the diner, that was like a really cool scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in on Barry too. I haven't watched the second episode yet either. So many shows.
Yeah.
Speaking of, we are going to do a full review of The Terror.
Yes, that was going to be my backup. I was going to segue into that. So, listeners, we are going to be doing our first mini-series, new episodes in addition to our movie reviews every week. We're going to start this week with the first 2 episodes of The Terror because they're released as one super long episode. And then week after week, Jimmy and I will be reviewing it and letting you know our thoughts. And I'm also reading the book, so I'll do a little compare and contrast there.
Nice. Yep. So tune in for that after you, right now.
Yep.
Go to the next episode. This one's over. Yep. Next one, The Terror.
All right.
If you watch it. Thanks, guys.
Bye. Love you.
Oh, I got to stop the broadcast.